You know that feeling, that split second where everything just clicks?
Oh yeah, like time slows down.
Exactly. The basketball just hanging there, boxers hearing the bell before it rings, runners seeing the finish line. Pure clarity.
You wish life could always feel like that.
Totally. But then you start thinking, how reliable is that memory really? Was it genuine insight or, just a feeling? Maybe just runner's high.
Well, memory is tricky. Emotions definitely color how we recall things.
Yeah.
What feels sudden might have been building up for ages.
Right. The exact details might fade, but the impact, I remember. At 24, something shifted. I really got the power of crazy ideas.
How so?
I just realized suddenly that almost everything, important books, sports, democracy, free enterprise, all of it started as someone's wild, maybe even laughable idea.
That's a huge realization, that the bedrock of society was once radical.
Yeah.
It kind of validates unconventional thinking.
It really does. Felt liberating. Then, fast forward a bit, I'm in Hawaii. Beautiful autumn, almost too perfect,
Shangri-La.
Pretty much. But I got restless. This nagging feeling. One night, it just hit me. I had to leave. Get back to the plan, whatever that was.
Even though it was paradise.
Yeah. My friend Carter thought I was nuts. He was like, stay, man. But this little voice inside just kept whispering, keep going, don't stop.
Wow. So you listened.
I did. Quit a decent sales job, God forbid. Bought this crazy open plane ticket, like a Eurail pass for the sky. Good for a year.
Impulse buy.
Totally. Left on Thanksgiving Day, 1962. Carter's farewell. Don't take any wooden nickels. Cryptic, right?
It definitely sounds like a leap of faith, leaving comfort for the unknown, based purely on intuition.
It felt like stepping off a cliff
Yeah?
and landing in Tokyo. No, it was still visibly scarred from the war. Devastated.
Must have been quite a shock.
It was. Luckily, my dad knew some American UPI journalists there. They were amazing, actually. Helped me out, found me a clean hotel room. Real kindness.
That's fortunate. Did you tell him your crazy idea?
Sort of mention it, yeah. Got this look, kind of like, ah. With a subtle eye roll.
Very. They basically said, look, before you do anything rash, go talk to the fellas at Importer. 2 ex-GIs running a magazine. Good advice, turns out. Get the local lowdown.
Always smart. Balance the big vision with on-the-ground reality, especially in a totally different culture.
Right. But first things first, I just wanted to soak it all in. Got a guidebook, my Minolta camera, and just wandered.
What'd you see?
Temples, these incredible walled gardens. Spent hours just absorbing it. Learned about Buddhism, Shinto, and this concept, Kensho, or Satori.
Sudden enlightenment.
Exactly. Like a flash, like my Minolta bulb popping. I became obsessed with experiencing that.
Ties back to that initial feeling of clarity you mentioned.
It does. And I saw Mount Fuji off in the distance, just like Mount Hood back home. Learned the Japanese climate as this mystical celebration.
Did you climb it?
Wanted to. Right then.
Yeah.
But I thought, no, I should wait. Wait until I actually have something to celebrate.
Linking the achievement to the symbolic climb makes sense.
Yeah. So eventually I followed the journalist's advice, went to find Importer.
And the ex-GIs. Exactly what you'd expect. Gruff, all business. I figured 5 minutes, tops, then politely shown the door. But somehow, we started talking sports, baseball, college stuff. Felt like being back home. Suddenly, they warmed right up.
Finding common ground. Amazing how that works.
Isn't it? So I mentioned I was interested in tiger shoes, this brand made by a company called Onitsuka down in Kobe.
They knew it.
Yep. And when I said I might go visit them, they gave me some absolutely critical advice about doing business in Japan.
Oh, like what?
Basically, don't be pushy, don't be the typical asshole American. They explain the whole indirect communication thing, how no is almost never said outright.
You have to read between the lines.
Yeah.
Patience is key.
Totally. You could leave a meeting thinking you bombed, then get the deal. Or think you nailed it and hear nothing. Constant uncertainty.
That must have been nerve-wracking.
It was. So armed with that, I head down to Onitsuka in Kobe, walk into the accounting department.
Yeah.
Everyone stops working and bows deeply. This key gesture. I felt completely clueless.
How do you even respond to that?
I managed this weak smile and a sort of half bow. Felt ridiculous. Then the meeting, they bring out the shoes.
The big moment.
Yeah. And the names? Oh, boy. Limber up, spring up, and throw up.
Throw up. Serious.
Seriously, I had to physically bite my lip to stop from laughing out loud. They were dead serious.
Cultural differences in branding, I guess.
I must be. And they start grilling me. Questions about the American market. How big could it be?
What did you say?
I just blurted out a number. $1 billion. No idea where it came from. Just popped out.
$1 billion. How did they react?
Stunned silence. Jaws dropped. Then the twist. They started pitching me.
No way.
Yep. Would my company, Blue Ribbon, be interested in representing tiger shoes in the United States?
Your crazy idea was actually happening.
Instantly. Said yes. Grabbed the limber up. This is a good shoe, I said, trying to sound confident. I can sell this. Asked for samples, promised to send a $50 money order.
Just like that.
Just like that. More deep bows. A handshake. It felt like a real partnership, you know? Despite the war being so recent, amazing. The meeting lasted 2 hours.
Much longer than you expected.
Way longer. I walked straight to American Express and wired that $50 to Onitsuka Corp. Felt huge.
First real step. Tangible.
Definitely. But I still felt this unreality. You know the Upanishads. Lead me from the unreal to the real. That resonated.
So, more travel.
Yep. Off to Kathmandu, trekked in the Himalayas. Coming down, I started noticing everyone's shoes, really looking at them.
The shoe obsession begins.
Huh. Maybe. Then it was a blur. Bombay, total headache. Kenya baboons on buses, literally. Venice, thinking of Marco Polo, Robert Browning. Paris, Rousseau, Voltaire, Notre Dame, the Louvre, Shakespeare and Company, Hemingway's Cafe, Champs-Élysées, Patton driving tanks down it.
Quite the world tour.
It was something. Finally got home. First words out of my mouth to my dad. Did the shoes arrive?
Always back to the shoes. Even after all that.
They were constantly on my mind. My dad actually put together this slideshow, Bucks Slides. I'm narrating about temples and mountains, but all I'm thinking is, where are the shoes?
Priorities.
Right. Then I did something important. Sent 2 pairs of the Tigers to my old track coach at Oregon, Bill Bowerman.
A legend.
The absolute legend. He was obsessed with shoes, always cutting them up, gluing bits on, trying to make them lighter, faster for his runners.
A true innovator.
Yeah.
Even back then.
Oh, yeah. Lived in this stone house out in the woods he built himself. You know that saying, the man who moves a mountain begins by carrying away small stones. That was Bowerman. Determined.
What did your family think of all this shoe business?
My dad just kept shaking his head, still thought I was nuts. But my mom, she bought a pair of limber-ups, just quietly supportive. I'd see her wearing them gardening.
That's sweet. A vote of confidence.
It meant a lot. Then things started happening organically. People heard about the shoes, runners mostly. They started showing up at my parents' house.
Seriously? At the house?
Yeah. I'm measuring guys' feet on the living room sofa while my dad just stares in disbelief. A tiny mail-order business was born right there.
Accidental entrepreneurship.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Then I bumped into Jeff Johnson. Ran against him back in college. Stanford guy. I was surprised he said he was studying anthropology, wanted to be a social worker. Didn't seem like the competitive runner I remembered.
People change, I guess.
Yeah.
Or maybe the competitiveness was still there, just channeled differently.
Maybe. Anyway, I had to go back to Japan for a follow-up meeting with Onitsuka. Felt awkward. Bought a new suit, tried to look professional, even bought a black bowler hat.
A bowler hat.
Yeah. Thought it looked distinguished. Probably just looked ridiculous. Crammed a book on Japanese business etiquette into my tiny bag. Felt stark, staring mad.
Trying to project an image.
Totally failing. But then something unexpected happened. I was climbing down Mount Fuji.
Yeah.
Met this woman, Sarah. Amazing energy, so vibrant. We talked, walked. Next thing I know, she basically invites herself to stay at my inn in Hakone.
Wow. Just like that.
Yeah.
Spent 2 intense days together. Unforgettable. The goodbye was just simple. Hajime maishite. First meeting.
Fleeting connection.
It felt significant, though. I left a note for her at American Express in Tokyo. Said if she was ever heading east, stop by Portland.
Bold move.
Felt right. Got home, told the family the good news, met a girl, and I'd saved the company, meaning I thought I'd solidified the Onitsuka deal.
Big news all around. Did Sarah visit?
She did. Showed up in Portland and just charmed everyone.
Yeah.
Instantly. Even my dad, who was notoriously hard to impress, the uncharmable knights, she called us later. She just had this incredible confidence. Came from growing up around candy bar people, she said. Rich folks.
Sounds like she fit right in.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, what about Jeff Johnson?
Oh, the letters. Non-stop.
Yeah.
Sales figures, race results from local tracks, ideas for expansion, advertising slogans, and always ending with questions like, why haven't you written back?
He was intense.
Clearly passionate about it. Did you want in?
Desperately. Asked to work full-time. I was brutally honest. Told him Blue Ribbon was basically broke. Said something like, if we do go down, misery loves company.
Cheerful.
Right. But he didn't care. So summer of 65, he was employee number 1.
And sales.
Doubling. Year 2, 100% increase. Sounds great, right?
It's amazing.
My banker didn't think so. Pulled me aside. said we were growing too fast for our equity. I was like, what? More sales is bad.
The classic cash flow crunch. Growth costs money up front.
Exactly. It didn't make sense to me then. Needed someone who understood numbers better. Hired a new accountant, Del Hayes.
Good move.
Brilliant move. Hayes made accounting feel like art. He saw the story in the numbers, the secret code. It clicked with the discipline I'd learned from track. Numbers matter.
Seeing the patterns.
Yeah. Around the same time I was doing my Army Reserve duty, found myself pushing the other guys really hard during drills, never taking a breath myself. Relentless.
Interesting. Leading from the front, maybe. Okay, let's just pause for a second here.
Yeah, good idea. And hey, everyone, welcome. You're listening, or well, you're with us here on the Audiobook Quiver YouTube channel.
It's great to have you joining us as we unpack this story.
Absolutely. If you're enjoying this and want more like it, insights, reviews, summaries, please do hit that like button, follow the channel, and definitely ring the notification bell. That way you won't miss what's coming next.
Okay, so back to Bowerman. He was making waves too, right?
Oh, yeah. Coached at the '64 Tokyo Olympics, had 2 medalists. Afterwards, he became this incredible ambassador for Blue Ribbon.
How so?
He and his wife, Barbara, went to Japan, met Mr. Onitsuka, and they just clicked. Bonded over war stories, shared that same tenacious spirit.
A really strong connection forming there.
Definitely. Mr. Onitsuka even told them his origin story. Starting his company after the war, making shoe lasts out of melted candle wax because materials were so scarce.
Wow. Incredible resilience.
Unbelievable. His first basketball shoes failed, but he didn't quit. Pivoted to running shoes. By the '64 Olympics, all the Japanese runners were wearing Tigers.
Amazing story. And Bowerman was still tinkering.
Always. Started messing with polyurethane. Pouring it into his wife's waffle iron, actually. Ruining it. Those were the very first sparks of the waffle soul.
The iconic waffle soul. Starting in a waffle iron.
Yep. And on top of everything, he was writing a book about jogging.
Jogging.
Yeah.
Before it was really a thing.
Exactly. He believed everyone was an athlete, just had to get them moving. I gotta admit, I thought, who's gonna buy a book about jogging? Seemed niche.
Shows what you knew.
Totally. Meanwhile, I'm sweating the Onitsuka contract renewal, checking the mail every day. Nothing but more letters from Johnson.
Still rambling.
Oh, yeah. Pages and pages. Sales data mixed with terrible jokes, long parenthetical asides. Just streams of consciousness. Then, out of nowhere, I needed 2 weeks off from Price Waterhouse, my accounting job.
Why? Trouble.
My boss just smirked and assumed I'd knocked someone up. I didn't bother correcting him.
Let him think it. What was the real reason?
Needed to sort things out. During that time off, I met up with Waddell. Remember him? Employee number, well, not quite number 1, but early.
Right. What is he up to?
He'd had some really tough breaks, was in a wheelchair now, looked different, worn, but his eyes still had this intense fire. I felt bad. I was late meeting him.
Seeing him must have been grounding.
It was. Made me think about Jim Grell, this guy who always beat me in races, high school, college. Always chasing him. Adidas felt like that now, a second Grell. Irritating, but also motivating.
Using the competition to fuel you.
Yeah. And honestly, even late '67, I still felt like I was chasing Bowerman's approval too. But things were improving. The Cortez shoe, Bowerman's design, was selling like crazy. We hit $84,000 in revenue.
A big jump.
Huge. Finally moved out of my parents' basement, rented a proper little office space, and then I did it. I quit Price Waterhouse.
For real this time.
Yeah.
All in on Blue Ribbon.
All in. My boss was stunned. My dad. Furious. Jackassing around with shoes, he called it. And when I took a part-time job teaching accounting at Portland State to make ends meet, that was downright disrespectful.
Ouch. Not much faith there.
None. But teaching Accounting 101 was kind of funny. First thing you teach, assets, liabilities plus equity. Our ratio at Blue Ribbon. Maybe 10% equity, 90% liability. Total textbook example of what not to do.
Living on the edge. Any interesting students?
There was one. Quiet girl, Miss Parks. Sat in the back. Honestly, my first impression was maybe she wasn't the quickest.
Uh-oh. Famous last words.
Pretty much. She comes up after class one day, asks me to be her faculty advisor, and just on a whim, I offer her a part-time job. Bookkeeping. At the little shoe company.
And she took it?
She did. Started working afternoons. We'd often be the last ones there, working quietly. One evening, walking her to the elevator, it felt awkward, so I just blurted out, "Want to go out Friday?"
Smooth.
Not at all. She just looked shocked. Said me, then kind of hesitantly, "Okay."
Wow. And that was Penny.
That was Penny. Things moved fast. Called my parents, told them we were engaged. They were happy, but kind of weddinged out. My sister had just gotten married.
Timing.
Yeah. Got engaged officially in Sacramento during a heat wave. Bought an emerald ring. Felt surreal, but no second thoughts. We got married September 13th, 1968. Same church altar her parents used. Almost exactly a year after she first sat in my class.
Incredible story.
She was so nervous, I might have snuck a few sips of whiskey beforehand myself. Reception at the garden club, danced with Penny, my mom, my sister Dot, drove off in a new black Cougar to her parents' beach house.
A happy time personally. How was business?
Growing, but stressful.
Hmm.
The 68 Mexico City Olympics were happening, and I felt totally left out. We had zero money for sponsorships. Had one guy there, Bork, doing basically nothing. Bill Toomey, the decathlete, actually wanted tigers, but Bork didn't have his size.
Yep.
Frustrating.
Missed opportunity.
Huge. Just kept telling myself, grow or die, grow or die.
We found this house in Beaverton looked exactly like one I grew as a kid. My dream house.
A good felt like it. But the Onitsuka problems were getting worse. Deliveries were always late. They were clearly prioritizing Japan. We had no leverage. And the bank, Wallace, getting really nervous about lending us more money for bigger orders.
Squeezed from both sides.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then the letter came from an Onitsuka insider, laying it all out. They were planning to ditch Blue Ribbon, find a new distributor, pushed by our competitors whispering poison in their ear.
Betrayal. After everything.
Gutted. I had to meet their guy, Kitami, Judas, for cocktails. 7 years I'd poured into this. I was furious, hurt.
What could you even do?
Scrambled for cash. Went to Nisho Iwai, this massive Japanese trading company. Why would a $100 billion company help little Blue Ribbon?
Seemed unlikely.
Right. But their model was different. Low margins, high volume. They saw us somehow as a potential gold mine. Totally different view than my bank. They offered a lifeline.
A crucial moment. And you needed your own identity now, right? Not just tigers.
Exactly. Needed a logo for a new soccer shoe, something different from the Adidas stripes, the Onitsuka stripes. Remembered Carolyn Davidson, the PSU student who'd done some brochure work.
The quiet student. Yeah, that was Penny's.
No, Carolyn was an art student. I asked her to design something that suggested motion. She looked kind of doubtful, honestly. But she said she'd try.
The birth of the swoosh.
Almost. Meanwhile, Nisho put me in touch with this guy, Sumeragi. Connected everywhere in the shoe world. He had a consultant, a shoe wizard, disciple of some legend named Jonas Center. That's when I first heard it.
Heard what?
The term shoe dog, someone totally obsessed with shoes, making them, selling them, thinking about them. It described me. It described Bowerman.
You found your tribe.
Kind of felt like it. Met another contact in Tokyo, Seoul Junior, young guy, way too big, sharkskin suit, kept saying, I this, I that. Made Sumeragi nervous.
Red flag.
Maybe. We went to visit factories, went outside Hiroshima first. I took some time alone at the Peace Memorial Museum. Had to. Very moving.
Important perspective.
Definitely. Then saw a great factory in Taiwan, Duliu, run by this young guy, C.H. Wong, a total shoe dog. Lived at the factory with his family. Dedicated.
It's commitment.
Yeah. Met another guy, Shay, said he could connect us to the best factories in Taiwan. For a small fee, of course. Like an Asian version of Giampietro, the Italian fixer. We haggled, set up a sub-company, Athena Corps, to handle Taiwan, partly for political reasons with China.
Building a new supply chain from scratch.
Had to. Sent my travel partner, Gorman, home. Made a quick stop in Manila. Good factory there. Yeah. Stayed the night in Douglas MacArthur's old suite at the Manila Hotel. Remembered thinking, you're remembered for the rules you break.
Full circle moment, almost.
Felt like it. This was all happening around 1976. Bicentennial year back home. Lots of patriotism in the air. Felt good to be American, free to build something. Looked at my team, Johnson, Vixie, Hollister. Amazing people. But Bowerman wasn't happy, and I knew, deep down, if Bowerman isn't happy, Nike isn't happy. We had to make him feel needed, valued.
Still seeking his approval, in a way.
Always. Then came the Montreal Olympics. 76. Supposed to be Nike's big debut on the world stage. Pinned hopes on Frank Shorter, the marathoner.
Yeah.
He didn't wear Nikes, wore Tigers, ironically. Devastating. Called Hollister that night. We were both just crushed. But I thought, that's the passion I want. People who care that much.
Finding the silver lining in disappointment.
Had to. Sales doubled again that year. Hit $14 million. People were noticing. Financial analysts started calling. But we were still perpetually cash poor, borrowing constantly to fund the growth.
The growth paradox again. Success creates problems.
Exactly. Talked about going public again, late 76, shot it down again. Too scared it would ruin the culture, make us corporate, formal.
Protecting the rebel spirit.
Trying to. That's when we started the butt-face meetings.
The what now?
Butt-face meetings. We'd go off to these Oregon resorts, lock ourselves in a room, and just yell at each other. Hash out the really tough, complex problems. Intense shouting matches.
Sounds...
Strangely, yeah. But there was always laughter, too. Camaraderie. This feeling like it was us against the world. Underdogs.
a unique management style.
It worked for us. And eventually, during one of those butt faces, we finally agreed going public was probably the only way forward. Terrifying, but necessary for survival and growth.
A huge decision. Reluctantly made.
Very. Around then, we met these two guys, Rudy and Boger, inventors, had this idea for putting air in shoes.
Air coals.
Yep. Rudy tried explaining the tech on a blackboard. Honestly, it was gibberish to me. It looked like hieroglyphics.
Not convinced.
Not by the explanation.
Right.
But then I tried on the prototype, went for a run. Wow. Just
Wow.
floated, cushioned. It was, like he said, one heck of a ride. Knew instantly it was revolutionary.
The potential was obvious.
Undeniable. Had dinner with them, brought Strasser along. Somehow, talking it through, the science started making sense. Strasser's a brilliant negotiator, so I just turned it over to him.
Smart delegation. Did it work?
The shoe, the tailwind, was a hit initially, but then problems. The flared heel caused pronation issues for some runners. Had to do a recall.
Ouch. A setback for the big new tech.
Yeah, but something interesting happened. A lot of customers were actually grateful. They appreciated that we were pushing boundaries, trying new things, even if it wasn't perfect yet. Valued the innovation.
Building loyalty through honesty.
Seemed like it. We also finally hammered out a deal with a big factory in Taiwan, ended the knockoff problems, and massively increased our capacity. No more relying solely on Japan.
Gaining control of production. Crucial.
Huge. Launched new ad campaign, too. Slogan, "There is no finish line." Came from John Brown, head of our new ad agency. Not an athlete at all, but he just got Nike's philosophy perfectly.
Capturing the ethos.
Exactly. Still wrestling with the money situation, though. Talked to Chuck Robinson, super experienced businessman, government ties. His advice? Blunt. Going public wasn't optional anymore. It was mandatory to fix the cash flow.
Final push.
Yeah. Hearing it from him, it finally sank in. It was inevitable. Felt this wave of sadness, actually, even knowing it could make us all wealthy. The butt faces agreed. Time to do the IPO.
End of an era, in a way.
I feel like it. Personally, things were complicated, too. My relationship with my sons, strained. Neither was into sports at all. Felt like this weird disconnect my whole life with sports and shoes.
That must have been tough.
It was. Meanwhile, Hayes goes and buys this rundown old factory on the Little River for $200 case. Impulsively. Vision for an apparel hub.
Bull's move. How did apparel go?
Disaster at first. Nelson, the guy in charge, makes his big presentation, pulls these dirty, ragged samples out of a paper bag. Seriously. Everyone's jaws just dropped. Huge blow to confidence.
Yikes. Back to the drawing board.
Yep. Learned a lesson.
Yeah.
Don't put too many innovations in one product. And there's honor in admitting failure, starting over. Like Bowerman and his waffle iron.
Always learning. Any other fires?
Oh, yeah. This customs guy. Bureaucrat. Just wouldn't let go, kept demanding money, penalties. I was so burnt out. Just wanted to scream at him.
Pushing you to the edge.
Totally. Then, out of nowhere, Senator Hatfield gets involved. Knew all about it. Offered to help. Vershkel and I were so stunned by success, we started bickering about how the senator should help. Ridiculous.
Success can be confusing, too.
Tell me about it. I told the warehouse guys, leave the damn baseball mitt chair behind when we move. I'm done with it. Symbolic. Had a second meeting with the customs guy. Much calmer, thanks to Hatfield and Senator Packwood's influence.
Political leverage helps.
No kidding. Then Hayes and I did the IPO roadshow, cross-country trip, meeting underwriters. Felt really weird, almost sentimental, talking with Johnson, remembering the early days, the VW bus, him dreaming up the name Nike, and now we were going to be the toasts of Wall Street. Surreal.
What a journey. How did the pricing go?
Set the date, December 1980. The bankers, Kuhn, Loeb, suggested $20 a share. I said no. $22. Same price Apple was going public at. Needed that parity. Told them I'd walk away if we didn't get it.
Playing hardball right to the end.
Had to. They agreed. $22.
So IPO day, big celebration, champagne.
Honestly. Felt. Flat. Anticlimactic. No joy, no relief. Mostly just regret. Wished I could rewind and do it all again, knowing what I knew.
That's surprising. You were worth $178 million overnight.
Yeah. Didn't feel real. The world was exactly the same. Went to work the next day, like always.
The destination wasn't the point, maybe.
Maybe not. Years later, 2007, Penny and I watched that movie, The Bucket List. Thought it was a comedy. Turned out to be about mortality. Made me think.
About what?
About the whole arc, Nike's evolution, Bowerman pouring rubber in a waffle iron to air, souls changing everything, going from being slammed for factory conditions to being called the gold standard by the UN, creating the girl effect, fighting poverty by empowering girls. That felt good. Real impact.
A legacy beyond shoes.
Hopefully. Still grapple with the wage stuff in developing countries, complex systems there. Woodall retired, told this funny story about explaining the IPO stock to his parents. They just didn't get it.
It's hard to comprehend that kind of change.
It is. I always want to warn innovators, rebels. There's always going to be a target on your back. Free enterprise isn't easy.
Constant challenge.
Always. Looking back, looking forward. Maybe there are still things on my own bucket list. New crazy ideas starting to bubble up. Need to reconnect with Waddell, read Johnson's old letters, look at those slides again. So much I still don't know about my own life.
The journey continues, right?
Yeah.
There's no finish line.
Exactly. So as you've heard, starting with a crazy idea leads down some pretty wild paths. Never straight, never easy.
It takes grit, doesn't it? Resilience, comfort with uncertainty, learning from failure as much as success.
Absolutely. We really hope listening to this has maybe sparked some thoughts about your own journey. Those moments, those unconventional ideas that set you on a different course.
Yeah, think about when you've gone against the grain, tried something different. What did you learn?
And if you found this exploration worthwhile and want to keep exploring compelling stories and insights, please do hit like, follow the channel, and turn on those notifications. We appreciate you being here on the Audiobook Quivel YouTube channel.
So the question we leave you with is, what crazy idea might you be nurturing right now? What are you on the verge of embracing?